Three, two, one.
What's down, chickens? What's up, peeps? As you can see, I am terrible with words today. Oh, hi, Douglas. What are you doing?
Hi, Evan. I'm using the creativity that God gave me to write a story.
Oh, a story. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gives me a good idea for a game. But first, what is creativity?
Creativity is imagining what you could do because you're made in God's image.
You know, that story gives me a great idea. You know, I think we should play a game called Epic Villain!
That sounds awesome.
It does.
Okay, how do we play?
Alright, so I will have this story right here. But this story is full of holes. And Douglas is going to fill those holes with all these words right here.
Okay, we have 3 buckets here. We have a bucket of nouns, which are people, places, or things. Adjectives, which are words that describe the nouns. And verbs, which are action words, things that the nouns do.
Alright, you know, this story is called The Best Day Ever.
Sounds amazing.
Alright, ready to do it?
Okay, let's see what funny feeling we got.
Alright. Anthony kicked off his
Curly
shoes before turning the corner to
fly
up the stairs. He left them on the floor like 2 abandoned.
trees
He took a flying
frog
and landed on his
hot
bed. He grabbed his game system and picked it back up from where he left it last night. As he
yodeled
on the controllers, he heard a whimper. He turned to see Spot, his awesome dog,
whistling
his tail with a
butterfly
in his mouth. Spot had clearly expected a
tiny
afternoon with his human. Anthony sighed, put down his game, and put on his
cat
on the way out of his room. He stopped to pick up his soccer ball too, just in case any of his friends saw him
bouncing
outside and wanted to join in the fun. He nearly tripped on his
giant
shoes downstairs, but
leaped
them up with his free hand. As his Spot sat on the porch outside, Anthony
jumped
his shoes and looked around. Was anyone outside who would enjoy a pickup game on random Tuesday afternoon? He saw a mom pushing her
building
in a stroller. Nope. Then a teenage
unicorn
with headphones on.
running
A mower. Nope. One final scan. All he saw was an old Mr. Smith pushing his
weird
trash can back to his
butterfly
looks like a simple game of
skunk
with Spot. All he could do was hope for today. He scratched Spot's head and stood up. At least he could make his dog's day extra
spinning. What a hilarious, funny feeling. We guys, Evan, you have awesome creativity, and so do you guys. This is an awesome story.
Alright guys, let's thank the God who gave us all this creativity by worshiping him.
You made the earth, you keep it spinning. You made the ocean and everything in it, and you made the sky so blue, and you made every other color too.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 13 through 16.
Keisha Jones tied the strings of a large white apron carefully behind her back. She glanced at awe at the gleaming silver countertops and appliances in the kitchen of a cupcakery where her brother Robert worked.
This is amazing.
Yeah, pretty great Myers letting us use the mixer and stove.
Pretty great you're helping me.
Keisha offered to bake cookies to raise funds for the new marching band uniforms. Even better, she convinced Robert to help her. He clipped a smudge recipe page over the counter.
Brown butter and toffee chocolate chip cookies? Sounds weird.
Trust me, they are the bomb. Robert worked evenings in a bakery for 3 years, so Keisha had to admit, he probably did know. She looked over the recipe.
2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt?
Actually, we're quadrupling the recipe, so that's 4 teaspoons of salt. Robert tossed Keisha a set of measuring spoons.
Cookies are supposed to be sweet. Won't the salt ruin them?
Nope, salt actually brings out the flavors.
What does that even mean?
You want to test it out? Fine. I'll make a batch with salt. You make one without.
You're on.
The siblings worked quickly as Robert showed Keisha how to mix dry ingredients and wet ingredients separately.
What do we do now?
Add the dry ingredients into the wet mix on low speed. Slowly, or you will make a flour storm all over this kitchen.
I knew that.
As Keisha worked, though, she began to hear another sound over the mixer.
Wow, rain's really coming down.
Yeah, and this is such an old building that every time it storms, the power goes out.
I can't see a thing.
Robert fumbled with his phone until the flashlight came on. It always comes back on pretty fast. We can wait it out. Robert settled down on the floor, back against the cabinets. Keisha sighed and sat down too. She checked her phone.
My battery's dying. Entertain me.
What? You can't live without your phone?
I don't know. Tell me a story.
I was just thinking of one. About salt.
Really?
One that Jesus told.
Ooh, that one. Sermon on the Mount.
Well, it fits. You know, the cookies.
Fine. Read it to me, preacher man.
It's in Matthew.
I know that.
Robert settled in with his Bible app. Jesus saw the crowds, so he went up on a mountainside and sat down. Then he began to teach. And pretty quick he gets into this part. You are the salt of the earth.
That's it?
Well, no. I mean, then Jesus talks about throwing out the salt if it loses its saltiness.
How do you even know if you're salty?
I think it's like the cookies. Salt makes things taste better. And people who follow Jesus can make life taste better.
Like chocolate chip cookies.
Robert punched her lightly in the shoulder. You know what I mean. When we share God's story, we bring hope to others. We help to fill their lives with kindness and joy and peace. All that good stuff.
Okay, I get it. Salt, good. There's something about light too, right?
Yep. Jesus says, you are the light of the world. People do not light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand. Then it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine so others can see it. Then they will see the good things you do, and they will bring glory to your Father who is in heaven. Keisha shifted, trying to get comfortable on the hard floor.
So when we follow Jesus,
By showing God's love to others.
when we do that, others can see God better and what to do.
Like a bright light. Yikes! Robert leapt up to try to stop the mixer as the power came on. Keisha stood and stretched, blinking.
Like a bright light. You planned that, huh?
Of course.
Well played. Hey, I'm gonna put salt in my batch of cookies after all.
Well played. As Keisha measured the salt, she smiled. The cookies would have came out great, but she had some thinking to do about ways she can become salt and light herself.
What Jesus said to his disciples that day is also true for you and me. God created us to be like salt and light. He made each one of us with a very important purpose.
Yeah, God created us to share his story. Let's say that together. God created you to share his story. Now, say, God created me to share his story. God created me to share his story. And that's right. God created us, each with a purpose, to share his story, using the gifts he's given us, and not just our words.
Maybe you have a gift that God has given you. He's made you creative in your own unique way. Remember, when you use the gifts God has given you, it honors him, and it allows you to share his love with others. That's how you can share his story, to help others know his love too.
You know what? Maybe you're really good at art, and you could make a painting that shows the amazing world that God created. Or you could maybe send your friend an encouraging video or a song that you really like that reminds them how much God loves them. Or you could even put out a sign on your front lawn that has some encouraging Bible verses for people. There are so many ways that we can be the salt and light of the world and share God's amazing love with others.
There are tons of ways that you can share God's love. We can use all of our creativity, but the important part to remember is God created you to share his story.
I'm sure you have some amazing ideas for how to show God's love to all these people. Now, before you go, we have some awesome announcements. So, in your weekly email from Miss Wendy, we've included the funny fill-in so you guys can play at home. Also, make sure to check out the Hunt Valley Church Children's Ministries Facebook page for the Creative Corner Challenge on Wednesday. Now guys, we've had an amazing time talking about God's creativity and about how he's made us with a purpose to share his story. We'll see you next month where we'll talk about friendship. Bye everyone!